Hello everyone and welcome to Violin Axioms, the channel where we explore violin technique and string technique in small bite-sized axiomatic ideas that you can then assemble into your playing. For today, we're going to cover 5 ideas or axioms for better articulation, and there are many more axiomatic ideas that we're putting together in different videos, so be sure to subscribe so that you get a sense of all the other ideas that go into really fine playing. So for today, better articulation. How do we do that? Well, of course we want clarity, and because we're an acoustical instrument and we're usually playing for an audience that might be even a big audience, we're going to need we're going to need to enunciate with our fingers more than just what is comfortable under our ears. So let's begin by thinking about left hand articulation and what I call, what is just basically dropping the fingers rhythmically. So when dropping, the first idea is to do a kind of like what I'd call a pop drop, meaning, and here I'm going to even just do it without the bow. Okay, and there are 2 different ways that you can do this. You can drop the fingers independently, as you would do with first finger, and then you can do second finger independently, third finger independently, fourth finger independently, okay? And alternatively, you can also drop them with the finger underneath the finger, kind of holding the fingers together. This is especially helpful for third and fourth finger, but dropping 0-1, 0-1, 0-1, and then when dropping 2, drop 1 and 2 together. 0-2, 0-2, 0-2, 0-2, 0-3, 0-3, 0-3, 0-3. So depending upon your situation, if you're working with adjacent fingerings, right, you can easily use the that sort of buttressed or holding the fingers down underneath the fingers. But you also will occasionally need to do this with independent fingerings. So practicing just independent fingerings can also be helpful. Okay? This is the kind of exercise, by the way, is you can do anytime. It's not something I would spend a lot of time with in the practice room. It's something that you can doodle with when you're, between events, between rehearsals, between this and that. It's just a great little practice exercise for getting things, your fingers to be more rhythmic. You can do this without vibrato, as I have been demonstrating it, but also, if you want to do it slower, add pop vibrato, either independently or using the fingers interdependently meaning using the finger underneath the finger to help you. Okay? And in this last case with the pop vibrato, make sure that the vibrato has a release to it. So there's like a surge of energy right at the beginning in my muscles, and you can even see this happen, that there's a relaxation. So almost like a quick grab and then a release once I've caught the note. So that the vibrato is ricocheting from the initial spurt of energy, right? It just is receding, okay? All right, okay, so the main idea here is to get a very clear articulation with the mechanics of it, of dropping. And I'm always dropping from these bass joints here. I'm trying to engage the whole finger, and I'm trying to keep the thumb in the middle of the hand. Okay? All right. Now you can also do this, I think having a nice pop vibrato is a great idea for whether you're going to be playing détaché or slurs or staccato, and you can practice any of those. And let's, as an example, use a really common, very famous method book called the Schradiak School of Violin Techniques. Okay, Henry Schradiak, School of Violin Techniques, Volume 1, Page 1, Line 1. Okay, so this is the most basic little etude of left hand motion, and I'm going to I'm just going to play these notes. It's a simple tetrachord of scale: open A, B first finger, C sharp second finger, D third finger, E fourth finger, going up and then back down. And I'm just going to start by doing legato détaché strokes, and with very clear articulation in the left hand. So I'll slur 2 for that, and I'm going to add a pop vibrato. Okay. I can also, of course, do this without the vibrato. Right? You still hear a good deal of articulation there. But I think it's a great way to train your vibrato to be part of your articulation. Okay? And then with that, of course, so far we're only talking about left hand articulation, and we haven't yet talked really about right hand in turn, the bowing of the articulation. That's also very important. So maybe taking this same Schradiak exercise, and we're now going to add a metronome, so that we're going to have some clarity there and something to measure against. I'm just going to put on the metronome at beat equals 80, and we're going to change how to interpret that beat, whether it's going to be 16th notes or 8th notes or quarter notes or whatever. And I'm going to play with staccato. Okay, And I could also do this including the left hand drop and the pop vibrato. And so let's put all of those together actually. So the left hand drop, pop with a staccato in the right hand, okay? Here is 16th note equals 80. And we could do that slurring the staccato as well. Okay. And what if I were to make the 8th note 80? So we'd be going twice as fast. So as like this, 1 and 2 and. Or that same beat could be the quarter note. 3, 4. Now my bow is doing a lot of the articulation. I can go back and do this exactly the same thing and make sure that my left hand is honest by just doing a simple slur, and I'm going to hear if I'm clear enough in the left hand. 3, 4. Okay, so all of those, I hope you can hear that there's a left-hand component to articulation and a right-hand, a bow component to it. Okay, and we did legato and staccato, but of course there is a whole gradient of different kinds of articulations between hard staccato and pure legato. I find it useful sometimes to think about articulation like the consonants of our alphabet. So do you want to make a really hard consonant, like say a T, right? A very hard T. You could practice that. Maybe let's do it. I'm going to do a D major scale with the consonant T. Or I could do a slightly, a defined consonant that's maybe not quite as aggressive, like a D, D. Or how about an even softer consonant like B? 3, 4. And of course we can go softer still. How about F, TH? Or even maybe a really, really soft consonant like H. So you can play with that in your Shradiak practice or scale practice, or it's just something really useful to think about when you're interpreting music, right? What kind of hardness or softness do I want to include in my articulation, right? And it's not just short or smooth. It can be anything in between. And I think we can communicate more like language if we think about some of that more like language. Okay. All right. And then finally here, maybe another great thing to do, especially for the left hand and articulation, is to practice with rhythms. Okay. So I'm going to interpret this 80 that we were doing earlier. I'm going to just do this as eighth notes. And we're going to do first a very common practice, which is long, short. And you'll hear what I mean. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, like that. Here we go. I could also do it the other way. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. I'm going to do that one again just to make sure that I'm listening as much to the way I lift the fingers as the way I drop them for clarity. Two other really important, useful rhythms that you can use almost universally are long, short, 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 and short, 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 long. So in this case, I'm going to go long, short, 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 long, short, 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 long, short, short, short. Here we go. Or the reverse of that, short, 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 long. And for articulation and just general intonation and ease, I really commend to you this book, School of Violin Techniques, Volume 1 by Henry Shradiak. It's available by Schirmer Publications. It's a fantastic book, a sort of basic book that I hope you'll all get familiar with. Just a few minutes a day of that is a great way to really improve your clarity, your intonation, and bow distribution, vibrato, pop vibrato, all of these things. Integrating them, using these axioms through this basic music. All right, thanks for joining me today for 5 ideas for better articulation. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.